let's keep leaning into Memphis. I love this city, and we are the reason that we're going to continue to be great.
Good afternoon and welcome to Dialogue with Deidre. I'm your host, Deidre Malone. So excited to have the mayor of Memphis, Paul Young, in the studio today. Mayor, how you doing? I'm
doing great. I'm excited to be here with the legend.
Oh, please. My glasses are already fogging up, Mayor, so I had to take them off real quick.
It's all right.
So 10 months in the game. 10 months on the job.
It's been great. I've been loving every minute of it.
What have you prioritized for the last 3 to 4 years?
3 to 4 years?
Yeah, 3 years.
3 years.
4 years,
yeah.
but you almost
for the
10
next
years
3 years.
in.
Okay, yeah. For the next 3 years. For the next 3 years, I think the priority is the same as what it's been.
Okay.
We've been really, really doubling down on efforts around public safety, thinking about it in a holistic way. MPD has been doing an amazing job. Chief Davis has been showing incredible leadership, so fully supporting her and what they're doing.
I'm a big fan.
I'm a big fan too,
Yep.
obviously. And really thinking about how we can support these young folks and thinking of different ways to engage them. And then we're also doubling down on our efforts around blight. I really think that the way our city looks is so important. And I've been excited to see so many people joining us in the effort. Just a couple of weeks ago, we did our first Own Your Block initiative kickoff, where we had over 46 churches that joined in an effort to ensure that the areas around their churches are clean and attractive. And so they took their congregations out on a Saturday morning, and they were picking up trash, cutting down lots, picking up tires. And we had 46 churches across the city engaged, and we're going to continue to do it in the spring and in the fall each year. And then the churches will do it on their own, in their own time, but we are going to have those citywide cleanups at least twice a year. But it's an effort to show, as we're doing all the things to mitigate blight and demolishing vacant buildings and taking our teams to do all the work around our initiatives, that we need the whole community to join in. And I'm just excited to see that it's happening. And so for the next 3 years, you'll continue to see us leaning in on things just like that.
Well, I was at an event with Chief Davis, I think it was last Thursday night, and she was talking about a lot of the initiatives that she has. But crime is down in Memphis.
Yeah.
If you look at the news, you wouldn't think that.
Yeah.
But crime is down. The Crime Commission came out and talked about how crime is down in the city.
Yeah.
It's working.
The work is working. That's what we like to say. And, we know we have to continue to lean in. We are definitely trending down from where we were last year, but we also know last year was a very tough year. And so we're not taking victory laps, but it does feel good to know that the work that we're putting in is paying off, and that there are more people that are benefiting from this work. And, what we have to make sure is that it's not a short-term decline, that we're continuing to press crime down in the right way. And I firmly believe that we're on the path to do that.
Well, I firmly believe that you have the right leader to keep it moving.
Yes.
I'm just going to say that.
Agreed.
Okay, so you've built a solid leadership team, Mayor. I'm not going to start naming names because I'll get in trouble because I like a lot of them.
Me too.
Some of them are holdovers from the previous administration, but you've made some incredible appointments on your own, right?
Yeah.
What do you think your leadership team, do you think they've gelled really well?
I think they're gelling well. We've had, challenges bind you together, and we had to go through a difficult budget season where, unfortunately we had to ask for a tax increase. We hadn't increased taxes in 12, 13 years in our city, and our budget had some holes in it that are very, very difficult to shore up unless you have additional revenue. And so we had to go through a challenging season, and I think those types of issues binds our team together, and we're working so hard, and we're spending a lot of hours together, and I think we're really starting to hit our stride, and I look forward to seeing what we're going to be able to do over the next 7 years.
I love it.
I'm claiming the next one.
Better claim it right now. And so I have to say that it was really bold of you to ask for a tax increase in January.
Yeah.
I know we needed it, but that was bold.
It was a difficult decision, and I still recall my team called me in on Good Friday It was Good Friday. I had a 3-hour meeting where the team was laying out the numbers, and I was like, man, y'all are definitely ruining my Friday.
Right.
But it was very clear from looking at the numbers that unless we did this, we were going to be putting ourselves in a very, very difficult position. We were trending in a state where we were pulling from our reserves every year instead of adding to it, and that has a dramatic impact on our bond rating and everything else. And so we did what we believed was necessary, and council understood after some long hearings and meetings, and it was approved. And now the pressure's on us to produce results.
Right.
And, we own that responsibility. We own that pressure. And the team is stepping up to the plate to do it.
I had lunch with the previous mayor. He looks really good. He looks really well rested.
I bet.
And I said to him, how are you sleeping at night? He said, I'm sleeping really well. How are you sleeping at night, Mayor?
I'm sleeping great.
Good.
I sleep great. I tell people every day, like, I don't, even though it's a stressful job, I only do what I believe. And so if I believe it, it doesn't matter what pundits and critics or the articles say. I believe it, and I know the rationale. And I have balanced all of the different sides of the scenario or whatever the issue is, and I have landed on this one that we've decided. And so when I go to sleep at night, I feel good because I'm doing what I believe is right in my heart.
That's so good. I have this sign in my office that says faith over fear, and I know you're a person of faith.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have faith in this space because to me, faith is taking the next step and not knowing whether you stepping off the land, off a cliff, or if there's going to be ground under your feet. And I feel like God is guiding my steps, and He's going to make sure my feet are planted on solid ground, and we just go forth.
That's all you can do,
That's
Mayor.
all you can do.
I love that you're doing the One Memphis tour, and you're headed over to Lemoyne-on College now. Yeah. What are you hearing as you're out in the community talking to people as a part of this tour? Yeah,
One Memphis tour has been amazing, and I'm so proud of the team for developing it. Shout out to Director Reginald Boyce, Pastor Reginald Boyce, and the community affairs team that has been kind of spearheading it. But what I hear when I'm out and about, certainly we hear the concerns that they want a cleaner city, a safer city, but I also hear optimism and hope. And when we came in, that was one of the number one things that we want to restore in this city. Of all the challenges, all the issues that we deal with on a daily basis, I think restoring hope is the most important thing because that's the thing that gets our community to strive for more. And I'm starting to feel it. I can feel a change in the energy. It almost felt like a cloud of darkness and heaviness that had been over the city for a while. For the past 2 years during my campaign, after I was elected, when I came into office, and we felt like one of our number one goals has to be to get people to feel hopeful again. And I'm starting to feel that from this tour. And what I also realize is that people just want to be heard.
That's it.
They know you can't just flip a switch and solve problems that have been caused over years and years of neglect, but they want to know that their government cares and that they have a person that they can look in the eyes and say, this is the thing that is bothering me, and I want you to feel my pain.
Right.
And so, we try to listen at those events, make sure we're feeling the pain that they're dealing with, and do everything we can to resolve those challenges.
And one of the questions I don't have here, but I'm looking at you and I want to ask this question. Okay. Is you're a young mayor?
Well,
with a young family.
I'm 45, so I'm not as young anymore. But I feel like I'm in my prime, and so I feel like people are like, man, how do you keep going? Everywhere I turn around, you're there, and it's because I feel like we have to. Like we got to take this energy, and it has to bleed over into everything we're doing as a city because Memphis is an amazing city with just the most incredible people in the world, and we just got to give them an opportunity. They just need a shot, and they need to see their mayor out there grinding to make sure that they get that shot, and that's what we're going to do.
Well, Mayor, the city is complex and has issues that are multiple, right? How are you tying those things and hearing and receiving that into that Memphis vision?
Well, I mean, I think I'm Memphis to the core. I've been in Memphis all my life except for when I went to college and I lived in New York for a year, but Memphis is my heart. I feel Memphis everywhere I go. And when I think about the priorities and the things that people want, I want those same things as a Memphian. And, I believe that we need a vision that connects all the things, whether it's transit or housing and sidewalks, education, all of the things that impact daily life have to be threaded into a vision where each person has an opportunity to get more, where they can raise their families in a peaceful, safe place. And, you know, all of the initiatives that we're working on, we know that as a city, we can't solve every problem as a government entity. But if we can connect the dots with all of the service entities that work in those respective spaces, and we can be the convener to make those things happen, then we're going to make an impact. And so I try to use our team and my presence to make sure that we're doing that.
But, you know, that's the expectation. I think the community feels like, you know, government should solve every problem.
Yeah.
And you just can't.
Yeah, you can. And I understand it, though. I get it. I mean, people see government and it has a big mouthpiece. It has a big bully pulpit. And people expect government to be able to resolve ills that are created by, you know, the private sector, by neglect. Now, certainly there are government decisions. I mean, I, as a planner, always draw a lot of our challenges as a city to some of the planning mistakes that we made, and those were government decisions where we decided that we wanted to be big, and we built an 18-mile sewer extension to go far out east, and we said, well, we want the developers to go and build more housing, and then we're going to annex, and then we'll get more tax revenue, which is not a crazy idea if you're in a growth mode.
Yeah.
But the challenge for us was that we weren't in a growth mode, so the people that were living in the core of the city just moved further out, and the people that were left in the core were the ones that had the least means, and all the resources left them and went out there. And so we're trying to reverse decades and decades of decisions that have gone awry. And, you know, given my perspective and where I come from and the fact that I understand it in that way, I think it helps as we figure out the strategies to reverse that trend.
Let me just say, when I was on the county commission, developers would say, Deidre's really nice. She'll have a conversation with me, but she's not going to vote on a development because the question for her is, how is that going to impact schools?
Right.
You know, we'd have to find money to build new schools when we had all these schools already in the inner city, right? But building outside of Memphis. And so I would never vote for development because I knew the impact it would have on infrastructure, right?
And when you were on the commission, you know, we had. I mean, I think a lot of the
government.
I was.
That's right.
A lot of the damage had already been done by that point. Honestly, I mean, because these were decisions that happened in the 70s and 80s, where, you know, we had already extended those boundaries so far, and by the time you were there, you know, a lot of the damage had been done, and you still have the same challenges, though.
Right.
You know, how do we get that infrastructure for these new developments out here? Well, what do we do with all of this infrastructure that we already have?
Right.
And how do we get you to build in the core of the city so we can have new housing for those folks?
That's right.
And that's one of the things that we're really, really pushing in our administration.
Well, Mayor, so I know and I understand that you're a proud member of Kappa Alpha Psi.
Yes,
I happen to be married to a Kappa,
all
son's
right.
a Kappa.
You got good taste.
I do. I really do. So part of that Divine Nine.
Yes.
How are you working with the other Divine Nine, to be a part of that Memphis vision?
I mean, I think the D9 is so important for all that we do. And, you know, just this past weekend, I was at homecoming, both for University of Memphis and Lemoyne College, and D9 was had a strong presence, and a lot of conversations around getting out the vote and making sure that we make our voices heard in the voting booth. As we think about these community cleanups and events, as we think about mentoring, you know, I want to see especially our fraternities, our black men stepping up and being present in these young men's lives.
So important.
It's so important. I often tell this story. I don't know if I've ever told the story on this kind of platform, but, you know, there was a story early on in our tenure around me meeting with the gang members. And one of the things that came out of that conversation that I thought was just so powerful was, you know, people misconstrued it and said, like, he's negotiating with terrorists. It wasn't a negotiation. This was literally a conversation where I said, what would it take for us to get 7 days with no killing, no shooting? And they gave me 4 points that I think were just so poignant. They said, number one, you got to tell them not to come shoot at us. That's very logical.
Right.
Number two, you got to find some things for these kids to do because they go out here and they break in cars, they steal cars, they ride around and smoke weed because they're 15 and they bored.
Right.
And that's logical. Activities. They said, well, you got to put some money in their pockets because we tell them if you go find guns in these cars, we'll give you $100 per gun. Logical. That's economic.
Right.
But then the last thing they said that ties into that D9 piece was that they said, man, you asking us to go and tell these young guys to stop shooting. We think you should come tell them yourself because we don't see people like you in our hood. And what they were saying was not just for me as mayor. They're talking to all of us. When you're talking to these young men who see nothing but despair in their community and they decide to go across the street and talk to the dude that's going to give them $100 for a gun and he got the fanciest car and the prettiest girl, it's not surprising why they make that choice. They don't have another alternative in front of them. But we can be the alternative. We can give them an example. And so I think we need to use Divine Nine, especially our black folks. We need to use the D9 to show our young people that are living in these situations that there is another path.
That's right, because it's not just about staying in your home and being prosperous. It's about what are you going to do to help your community,
man,
right?
So many of us will get on social media at night and we get on there and we complain and tag the crazy videos where somebody is spinning out in the intersection. Look at these crazy kids. And we sitting in the bed in our home with the garage shut and we're not engaging with those same young people and asking them, why are you out there doing this? What else do you have? Yeah, you can change a life with that level of engagement. And so my hope is that we can find more ways and more partnerships to get those conversations had.
Well, you know what I'm wearing. I'm repping right here. The pink and green and Kamala's on my bracelet.
All right.
The presidential election, Mayor, is May 5th.
Yeah.
The vice president has said, Vice President Harris, that you know, her vision for housing, because you have a housing background coming out of HCD as the director. What do you think about her vision? Do you think it's something in line with something we need to be doing or are doing here in Memphis?
Absolutely. I think she has a great vision. I'm certainly supportive. And when it comes to housing, you know, when I was the director of housing, at least once a week, I would get an email from the mayor's office or from somebody in the community asking for support on housing, whether it's fixing up their home, somebody that can't find a place that's affordable for them. And the more supply we can get, the more new quality homes, hopefully affordable homes that we can get in this community, the more we'll be able to see prices stabilize because you have more supply, then prices are able to go down. And so we want to see that happen in Memphis. And we're going to do everything we can to make sure we're getting all the resources possible. And when we talk about housing, I always like to remind people that affordability is relative. So as we're building housing, we can't build our way out of an affordability crisis. We also have to think about how will we grow incomes. And so we have to work hand in hand with our business sector, with our workforce arena, so that we are skilling our community up so that they can earn more. When you earn more, your affordability it opens up a bigger universe for what's affordable to you.
Well, now I've got some fun questions for you because I want people to really get to know the mayor, right? What's your favorite movie?
Oh, man. I have a lot of them. Love Jones. That's one
of my favorites.
I love Love Jones. I like Menace to Society.
Okay. Little Tupac,
Goodfellas.
Right?
Yep.
Some gangster movies, y'all. Goodfellas.
I mean, it's 90s movies. Okay. 90s movies. You know, I'm a 90s kid.
Okay. I'm a Gladiator chick.
Yep,
we
I
got
like
a
Gladiator.
new one coming out with Denzel.
Really? I didn't know that.
Gladiator too.
I look forward to that.
It's gonna be a good one. Who's your favorite actor?
Who is my favorite actor? I don't know if I really have one. I mean, I like
Denzel.
Denzel.
You better say somebody Memphis. Elise Neal.
Yeah, I rock with Elise. I like Elise Neal. Yeah, let's rock with Elise Neal.
Okay, good. Favorite music artist?
Jay-Z.
That's good.
I'm a big Jay-Z fan.
Okay, well, you can come join the Carter Malone group on Fridays. We have Jay-Z and Beyonce Fridays.
Oh, really?
Where we drink a little wine and listen to a little music.
All right.
So you're welcome.
I might pull up.
Mayor, it's been so good having you on Dialogue with Deidre. Any parting words for our viewers?
Nah, just let's keep leaning into Memphis. I love this city, and we are the reason that we're going to continue to be great.
Mayor of Memphis Paul Young on Dialogue with Deidre. Thank you so much for watching. See you next week.